Have you ever found yourself questioning the people around you? Maybe you've noticed certain behaviors in women that make you wonder, why do they act this way? What if I told you that the answers lie in a surprising place? And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to protect your peace, avoid unnecessary drama, and make better relationship choices for the future. Part 1. Introduction. The naive woman in today's world. Have you ever found yourself in the company of someone who just dosed in tea seemed to get it? Maybe there is this feeling that you surrounded by people whose behaviors and decisions leave you scratching your head, questioning their mindset or their way of seeing the world. It might seem as though these individuals are so far removed from understanding what really matters, but here's the twist. Understanding these behaviors isn't about labeling people or casting judgment. It's about protecting your own peace, avoiding unnecessary drama, making smarter choices when it comes to relationships. We all know how complicated relationships can get, and it's important to differentiate between those who truly understand the depth of life and those who only navigate it on the surface. By the end of this video, you'll have a clearer view of what certain behaviors mean and how to interpret them. This understanding could forever change the way you approach your relationships. Stick with me until the end, because you'll walk away with insights that not only apply to your love life, but also your daily interactions. Part 2. A dive into Stoic philosophy and its relevance today. Let's get deeper. Imagine for a moment you meet someone new in a completely unfamiliar setting. Maybe it's a social gathering, a work event, or some casual get-together. At first, everything about this person seems perfect. She's beautiful, charming, funny, and makes every conversation feel light and engaging. But then, small inconsistencies begin to creep into your mind. It's almost imperceptible at first. You start noticing behaviors that make you question her deeper emotional intelligence. Is there more to her than just charm and beauty? Now, when we talk about intelligence, we're not only referring to the common perception of smarts or knowledge, we're talking about the stoic qualities that stand out in a wise individual. Self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and the ability to navigate life's challenges with composure. According to Seneca, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, the greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. This is a critical lesson for us. The people we associate with play a huge role in shaping our future and determining the quality of our present. Understanding these signs isn't just about identifying flaws. It's about making better choices that protect your peace, your energy, and ultimately, your well-being. We'll look at the top 6 signs that a woman is behaving naively. These traits may seem innocuous at first, but as we break them down, you'll realize how these behaviors can dramatically impact your life. Part 3. Sign 1. She thrives on drama. Let's start with an all-too-common behavior in some relationships. Drama. Have you ever been in a relationship that felt like a constant emotional roller coaster? One minute everything's fine, and the next minute you're in a heated argument over something as trivial as a missed text message. It's a whirlwind, and not in a good way. You're left wondering, why does it always have to be like this? Why does everything seem to spiral out of control with the smallest triggers? This is a classic example of someone who thrives on drama. Some women, and to be fair, some men as well, feel most alive when chaos is present in their lives. Drama is almost like a drug for them. They can't function without it. Their emotions, whether up or down, seem to constantly swirl around in an unpredictable storm. Here's the thing. A relationship isn't meant to be a soap opera, not supposed to be a constant battle for attention or a series of emotional highs and lows. True peace, as taught by the Stoics, is where strength lies. A wise woman knows that true strength doesn't come from reacting emotionally to every small issue. Instead, she remains calm, measured, and composed, even in the face of adversity. If you've dated someone who constantly picks fights, nags, or blows up over things that are easily solvable, this is a red flag. Drama is a form of attention-seeking. If your relationship feels like a never-ending cycle of conflict, it might be time to step back and ask, is this the kind of relationship I truly want? Part 4. Sign 2. She can't take responsibility. Let's take a closer look at another major sign, avoiding responsibility. Picture this. You're in a seemingly perfect relationship, but then a small disagreement arises. Maybe it's about something simple, like miscommunication. But instead of dealing with it maturely, she jumps to conclusions and immediately blames you for everything that went wrong. "It's not my fault," she says. "Should have known better." Sound familiar? You're not alone. Relationships are hard enough without one partner constantly refusing to take accountability. The truth is, a partner who cannot own up to their mistakes is only hindering the relationship's growth. Healthy relationships thrive on mutual respect, acknowledgement, and shared responsibility. According to Stoic philosophy, one of the key principles is the ability to recognize our mistakes, take responsibility, and then move forward in a way that leads to personal growth. As Epictetus wisely said, we suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them. In other words, growth doesn't happen if you refuse to acknowledge your flaws. If you find yourself in a relationship where someone always plays the victim, blaming everyone else for their misfortune, it's a major red flag. You want a partner who can acknowledge their shortcomings, apologize when necessary, and work to improve. In the end, relationships are about shared responsibility, not constant finger-pointing. Part 5. Sign 3. She values materialism over character. Now, let's talk about materialism and its impact on relationships. Have you ever found yourself dating someone who seems to value what you provide for her more than the deeper connection you share? At first, buying her gifts, taking her out on nice dates, and showering her with attention might feel satisfying. But after some time, you start to notice a pattern. She doesn't seem to appreciate the thoughtful gestures as much. Instead, she wants more bigger gifts, better trips, grander gestures. When materialism becomes the focus of a relationship, it can feel like you're never truly enough. Here is why this can be a problem. Materialism can cloud the true essence of a relationship, which is about emotional connection, loyalty, and mutual respect. The Stoics taught that happiness is not something that can be bought. It's an inward condition that's built on fewer desires, not more possessions. A wise woman understands that true value in a relationship lies in the heart, not the wallet. She appreciates your presence, not just the things you can provide. If you're constantly feeling like your value is tied to your financial contributions rather than who you truly are, you're likely in a relationship that's built on superficial grounds. Part 6. Sign 4. She constantly seeks validation. Next up is a big one. Seeking validation. Has this ever happened to you? You tell her she looks amazing, and instead of a simple thank you, she follows up with, "Do you really mean it?" Or maybe she's constantly posting on social media, checking for likes, and waiting for external validation. It might seem charming at first, but over time, it can get exhausting. Here's the thing. A confident woman doesn't need constant reassurance. She knows her worth without seeking validation from others. She doesn't depend on external praise to feel good about herself. But if you're with someone who constantly seeks affirmation from you and others, it can drain your energy. In Stoic philosophy, the true value of a person isn't determined by others' opinions, but by their deeds. Marcus Aurelius said it best. The value of your worth is not determined by the views of others, but by your deeds. Part 7. Sign 5. She can't handle criticism now. Let's address one of the most frustrating signs. She can't handle criticism. You've probably been there trying to give constructive feedback to someone close to you, only to have them react defensively. Might say something as simple as, "Maybe we could eat healthier," and suddenly the situation escalates. Before you know it, she's angry, accusing you of undermining her or making her feel inadequate. Sound familiar? If this happens consistently, it could be a major warning sign. A person who can't take criticism or feedback is someone who's unwilling to grow. And growth is essential in any healthy relationship. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of self-awareness and the willingness to improve. According to Epictetus, it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. This means true growth comes from understanding our weaknesses, accepting constructive criticism, and striving to better ourselves. But if your partner rejects all forms of feedback, it's not only stunting their personal growth, but also the growth of the relationship itself. In a relationship, both partners must be willing to listen to one another, offer support, and improve together. If criticism is met with defensiveness and anger instead of reflection and improvement, it's a clear indication that the relationship may be unhealthy. Part 8. Sign 6. She lacks self-discipline. Another significant sign of a naive woman is a lack of self-discipline. Let me paint a picture for you. You re-enter a relationship with someone who has big dreams. She talks about wanting to start a business, get in shape, travel the world, and achieve all these incredible goals. Yet every time the opportunity to work towards these goals presents itself, she makes excuses. Whether it's sleeping in instead of getting up early to work on her goals, or procrastinating on the things she's passionate about. The result is always the same. Nothing gets done. At first, you might think she just needs some motivation or guidance. But over time, it becomes clear that she simply lacks the self-discipline to follow through on her promises. This could be the most draining aspect of being in a relationship with someone who is inconsistent and unpredictable. The Stoics believed that true contentment and happiness come from mastering your own mind and emotions. Self-discipline is key to building a meaningful life. In the Stoic worldview, actions speak louder than words. The most important thing is to be consistent and committed to the goals you set, not just dream about them. If you're always the one making plans, setting goals, and staying on track while your partner consistently falters, you need to pause and consider. Is this the kind of partnership you want? A successful relationship requires mutual growth, and being with someone who lacks self-discipline can hinder that growth, leading to frustration and stagnation. Part 9. The impact of being in relationships with naive people at this point. We've covered several signs that indicate a woman might be naive in her approach to relationships in life. But now let's take a step back and reflect on the bigger picture. The patterns of drama, emotional instability, materialism, and irresponsibility create a toxic environment that drains not only your energy, but your emotional well-being. Every relationship has its challenges, but when you find yourself constantly walking on eggshells, doubting your worth, or feeling drained, it's time to ask some hard questions. A toxic relationship isn't just about the person who brings the chaos. It's also about how you respond to it. Are you allowing yourself to be consumed by her emotional outbursts? Are you compromising your principles to accommodate her need for validation and drama? The Stoics taught that we are not disturbed by events themselves, but by the views we take of them. If you find yourself constantly battling these toxic dynamics, it's time to stop and reevaluate your role in the situation. Are you enabling the negative behavior? Or are you stepping up to protect your peace and emotional health? Part 10. The Stoic Wisdom. Protecting your peace and emotional health, here's where things get interesting. The Stoic mindset offers a profound way of approaching relationships. The key idea here is the ability to remain calm and collected in any situation, even when faced with emotional turmoil or chaotic behavior from others. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said it best: "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." When you re-caught in a toxic relationship or caught up in someone else's emotional storm, it's easy to let your mind spiral into a whirlwind of doubt, frustration, and despair. But the Stoics remind us that our thoughts shape our reality. If you find yourself constantly doubting your worth, questioning your decisions, or feeling drained by someone else's behavior, it's essential to remind yourself, your peace is your responsibility. You can control how much emotional energy you invest in others. If someone's behavior is making you feel drained or confused, it's time to set healthy boundaries. Part 11. Moving toward healthier relationships ultimately. The Stoic approach encourages us to move toward relationships that nurture growth, understanding, and peace. A wise woman understands that love should be built on trust, emotional intelligence, and mutual respect, not drama, manipulation, or materialism. As you reflect on these signs of a naive woman, it's important to ask yourself, am I in a relationship that fosters growth, or am I stuck in a cycle of chaos and frustration? By making wiser choices in who we allow into our lives, we set the foundation for healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Remember, the true power lies not in the people around you, but in the decisions you make about who you spend your time with. Part 12. Conclusion, Wisdom, Clarity, and the Power of Stoic Thought. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with one last piece of Stoic wisdom. In life, the only thing you have full control over is your response to the world around you. No matter how chaotic the people in your life might be, you have the power to choose how you react. By embracing the lessons of Stoic philosophy's self-awareness, emotional intelligence, responsibility, and the pursuit of peace, you can find the strength to break free from toxic relationships and step into healthier, more meaningful connections. It's time to start making choices that align with your highest values. Part 13. Embracing your own growth and inner peace. Now that we've explored the signs of a naive woman and the impact of toxic relationships, it's time to shift the focus back to you. It's the most important aspect of Stoicism is recognizing the power you have over your own mind. You can't control others, but you have complete control over how you react, the choices you make, and the boundaries you set. Think about your past relationships. When was the last time you made a decision that truly protected your peace? Maybe it was cutting ties with a toxic person, setting boundaries with someone who drained you emotionally, or choosing not to engage in drama. If you can't think of a time when you made those choices, it's time to ask yourself, what can I do today to prioritize my mental and emotional well-being? Part 14. Understanding the true value of emotional intelligence. As we continue, I want you to consider the value of emotional intelligence. It's often said that emotional intelligence is just as important, if not more important, than intellectual intelligence. A woman with high EQ understands her emotions, manages them effectively, and is attuned to the emotions of others. She knows how to express herself without manipulation, how to listen without judgment, and how to communicate in a way that promotes understanding. A wise woman understands that relationships are meant to enhance your emotional health, not hinder it. And the same goes for you. When you're emotionally healthy, your relationships will thrive. Part 15. The Power of Boundaries and Saying No. A critical element of protecting your peace is understanding the power of boundaries. Boundaries are the limits you set in relationships to protect your emotional and mental well-being. If someone is draining you emotionally, creating chaos, or continually violating your trust, it's important to set boundaries. This could mean stepping away from relationships that aren't serving you, having difficult conversations, or simply learning to say no when necessary. The Stoics teach us to be selective about who we spend our time with. Not everyone is worth your energy. Not every relationship is worth maintaining. When you begin setting healthy boundaries, you create space for people who value you, who support your growth, and who respect your time and energy. Part 16. The Importance of Self-Reflection and Self-Improvement. In any relationship, self-reflection is crucial. The Stoics believe that we should constantly assess our actions, our reactions, and our overall behavior to ensure that we're living in alignment with our values. Have you ever taken time to reflect on the kind of partner you are? Have you thought about the patterns you've noticed in your past relationships? Are there things you could improve, such as your communication style, emotional availability, or the way you handle conflict? The good news is that personal growth is always within your control. You have the power to change and become the best version of yourself. By doing this, you not only improve your life, but also make your relationships healthier and more fulfilling. It's all about understanding yourself, owning your actions, and striving to be better every day. If you can do that, you will attract the right kind of relationships, those based on mutual respect, trust, and growth. Part 17. Moving beyond materialism and the pursuit of true happiness now. Let's dive into a topic that often drives many relationships into turmoil. Materialism. We've all experienced it. A partner who values possessions over emotional connection. Whether it's constant requests for gifts or comparing your lifestyle to others, materialism can strain relationships. The Stoics, however, believe that happiness is found within, not in material goods or external validation. They believe that true contentment comes from living a life of simplicity, virtue, and wisdom, not from acquiring wealth or status. Happiness, they argue, is not something that can be bought. So, in your relationships, consider the following. Does your partner value emotional connection and character, or are they more interested in the next shiny thing? As we conclude, I want to leave you with this essential insight. Your worth is not defined by how much you provide or how much attention you get. In many toxic relationships, your value becomes tied to your ability to give, to offer gifts, praise, or emotional support. But true love is about mutual respect, understanding, and supporting one another in personal growth. You deserve to be with someone who values you for who you are, not just for what you can give. If you find yourself constantly working to prove your worth or seeking validation, it's a red flag. True love doesn't require you to prove yourself. It doesn't demand that you constantly give to feel appreciated. It recognizes your worth without needing to constantly justify it. So, reflect on your own relationships. Are you truly valued for who you are, or are you stuck in a cycle of seeking validation, proving your worth, and feeling emotionally drained? Part 19. Final thoughts and encouragement. By recognizing the signs of naive behavior in relationships, understanding the power of stoic wisdom, and committing to personal growth, you can create healthier, more fulfilling connections. Remember, your worth is not defined by anyone else's standards, but by your own actions and the life you choose to live. As you continue your journey, prioritize your peace, your emotional health, and the relationships that support your growth. And remember, you are not alone. Many people experience similar struggles, but with the right mindset, boundaries, and wisdom, you can overcome them and build relationships that are grounded in respect, love, and mutual growth. Thank you for watching, and I hope this message resonated with you. If you found value in this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who needs to hear these words. Let's continue this conversation and support each other on the